What's going on, guys? This video we are going to focus on using a roundhouse kick as a base and learning some simple but effective follow-ups. Now, this comes from the karate program that I teach at Union Martial Arts. You could use it in whatever striking genre you're in. Basically, it's just taking that roundhouse template and then taking that position that you finish in and being able to follow up with something quick and efficient. Okay, so the first technique here, I'm going to be using James as my target, but especially in a game of down kickboxing, especially what we do here as well, we like to catch kicks. We try to neutralize it so that we're not in a kicking war type of thing. So when I go for my right leg roundhouse, I assume that he's going to catch it. Now, if he doesn't, I just kick, but in this case, James tries to catch it, and so either I hit and I'm able to pull it out, or I hit and I kind of worm it out. Either way, it's the same process, but the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to pull it towards my chest. So when I kick here, I pull it towards my chest. Depending on my balance, I could shoot this right into a side thrust or a side kick. So I go straight into the chest again. Okay. If you need to drop that leg for balance, if you need to create distance, there's a couple ways you can play with it. The first way is I go to kick, I drop it down. I'm going to step with my left leg to bring my right leg back up, and then I shoot that in. Notice how close I am. It's better to be close than far, because if I'm close, if I'm going to use this technique, I generally should have a good amount of power and balance in my supporting leg that I can hit and extend after that. Right? When I kick and I'm this close, I don't want to push off James. I want to kind of shoot through. So after I do this first roundhouse here, I bring it down, step with my left. If I'm this close, I touch and I hit, and I really extend that leg. Okay, so it's a very, very quick way to get out of someone trying to grab your leg, and it also makes them pay if you're fast enough. So again, whether I hit this kick or not, I'm going to flow using that position. I'm going to end up here anyways. I'm going to end up here. So I'm going to use that to go into a side thrust. Change up the lines. My roundhouse goes around. My side thrust is going straight. Okay. If I, for say, feel like I'm not strong enough to kick from that close angle, sometimes I'll step to create distance. So I go for my roundhouse here. We're extremely close. I might step back, lift it up, and then shoot. Right? And that's more specific if he's really pressing in against me. Okay, so again, I go to kick. He presses in towards me. I lift that up, and then I stretch. So I do my side kick, or we call it a side thrust, because we try to let our students envision that the kick is going through. It's not hitting and then pushing, right? But side thrust, side kick, the way that I like to do is I like to compress my body, bring my knee right into my chest, so it's almost like I'm squatting, and I just have to stretch that out, okay? There are other ways to do it. It's pretty much your preference, as long as you have that good balance, good power that you can have a good extension. Okay, so this next one is going to be using my lead leg as a roundhouse. And what I want is I want to kind of fake him out a little bit to create a distance between us where he's really going to be able to read my body. And I'm going to use that to my advantage. So what I want it to look like is that I'm going to step out here. I'm going to hit him with a lead leg roundhouse. Okay? Now when I do that, it's very important that he's kind of on the same page as me. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fake him out first. He's going to take a little step back. And then I'm going to take that step, and it's going to look like I'm going to the kick. Now he feels like he has my timing. He's going to try to get it. Instead of going for the kick, I just leave it kind of vertical like this. I drop it down, out to the side, lift my right leg up, spinning back kick right into his chest. Okay? So I fake him out. I give a little hop. Boom, blast him. Now that same concept, I don't want to kick James too hard, but when you're in that position, it's better closer than not, because you're still going to feel it. Right? It's not really that I care my kick looks perfect. I want him to feel my kick more. So in the moment, you might end up in a position that after the fake, you go over here, you get a kick kind of like this. But that impact is going to land. Boom, and that's much better than having this, where it's full extension, and then you got to give a little more, just a touch. That's not going to hurt him at all. In fact, it's just going to give away your leg that he can probably grab after that, because there's no substance in it. Okay, so again, I'm over here, give him a little fake, give a little hop step here, boom, blast him. Okay, very, very effective, very common thing I do to a lot of my students, something I taught them, and It's very quick, and it plays off of a lot of emotion, like I'm giving it to you. And it's almost too good to be true, but not so good that you're not going to try your luck. Okay? Now the last one, this one's a little bit more on the flexibility side, and this one's a little more on the dynamic side, I would say. We're going to set up the same way we did for the first one. So we're going to give that roundhouse, we end up in the same position. Right? We drop it down in front. I'm going to use the same step. Left leg comes in, right leg comes up. Now I'm going to do a hook kick. You'll hear a lot in Filipino martial arts, especially sikaran. They'll call it a biakid, which is just basically a hook kick in the front. Okay? So the idea is, it's kind of like I'm doing a roundhouse and then a reverse roundhouse. And the idea is, if you really want to set this up, you're going to go to the body and then to the head. Right? So changing levels, changing direction. Not a lot of the time you will anticipate someone kicking from that angle, so it's a very effective kick, especially if my opponent is used to more of the linear kicks, the more traditional, push kick, frontal kick, side thrust, roundhouse type of concept. So I'm in this position here, I roundhouse here, I drop it down, I'm going to step in, and I'm going to hook on top here. Right, so it's a swipe with my heel going across like this, really, really powerful, really gives your opponent that big knock and kind of tips them over. Okay. If we're starting with a little more distance, same thing. I'm going to use that step to kind of shoot my way in, and that's going to allow me to get it up. If he's not too close, after I kick here, I use that same step, but I go reverse, come a little closer, and then I shoot it up here. Right, so it's just a very quick way to use that position and be able to hit him on the second one, whether I succeed on the first and I just want a clearer point or a clearer shot, or it's my recovery. Instead of wasting time going from here, drop, step back, or from here, drop, switch, I can flow right into my offense. A very common principle in Filipino martial arts. Again, this is just using the roundhouse setup, and it's also just using kicks. You can flow into your hands, you can flow into grappling, whatever your dominance or your preference is in martial arts. It's not, the be-all and end-all. There's a lot of karate or kung tao influence in this. There's a lot of kickboxing influence in this. And really it's just that short timing, those short cues that's going to tell me, do I step forward, do I step back, do I go into the side kick, or do I go into the hook kick? I'm going to give you guys a quick example. I know I'm going to go for a side thrust if I see his hands go up. So if his guard comes up like this, right, that's my cue where this area is going to be open. So what happens is he's going to try to get my leg first and foremost. Right? When I drop this down, if I see those hands go up, then I know that I'm going to be able to kick. Right? So when that guard comes up, I know that I'll be able to blast him right through here. Okay? So sometimes I'll get that cue right away. Sometimes it'll be like this. I'll kick, nothing will happen, and we'll kind of be in the stalemate. And as soon as I see his guard come up, then I go for the kick. Right? So I'm using his frame, his boxing stance, or in Kung Tao will be in a stance like this. I'm using that as a cue to kind of time my side thrust to make sure it lands without that much defense on his end. If I wanted to go for the biakid or the hook kick, when I do the roundhouse, my cue is going to be his hand kind of leaning down like this. Right, so a lot of times you'll get kind of this, I call it like a Bruce Lee stance, or it's a Philly shell for those boxers. When I see that stance after I do my roundhouse, if I see him kind of lean back, so his body's going to be like this, I can see that most of his weight is on his back leg. I know he's not going to move too much. Then I know he's kind of anticipating something around here. I can see his hand kind of generalize around here. He has the guard up here, but it's nothing too concerning. So when I see that, I know I can launch. And the most important part about this is that it looks like a side thrust. So when I come in, it looks the exact same, but instead of coming straight like this, I go up and around. And that's going to really, really throw him off. If he's onto me doing, a roundhouse side thrust, I just come up on top. Take a nice big swipe at his guard, take a nice big swipe if it goes through this little hole right here, or if his hands are completely, non-existent, they're just there for kind of muscle memory. It's a very, very effective way to play with that. So, very basic follow-ups. The key to your follow-ups, if you're using the roundhouse as a base, is the cues, the timing. You'll see that a lot through sparring. You'll see that a lot through just reps of being in real time and being able to learn to analyze your opponent that way. Very, very important part if you're a point fighter. Very important part if you are trying to set up your strikes consistently. Okay? So try that out at home. Try that out with your partner. If If you guys liked it, if you've used it before, let me know below. Also, let me know some other techniques you guys have done. I'm always a student of the game. So please share your knowledge. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up as well. Until next time, catch you guys then.